Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Weekly Coplay. My name is Monica.
And my name is Daniel.
And we are a weekly podcast all about...
You guessed it.
Kinky Afro.
Hell yeah.
What does it mean?
What?
Find out.
What does it mean?
I don't know. Find out later. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you had a Kinky Afro in this or not. I don't know.
I know it's in here.
Oh. Yeah, find out later. Find out in this episode. So this week, we are going to talk about the Feels Like I'm Falling in Love Director's Cut music video that had just come out, as well as the interview with Johnny Buckland with Rolling Stone. There's another one. Hooray. Was it just Chris and Guy?
I really want there to be a Will one, but I really don't think they interviewed Will.
Well, you never know.
Maybe it's the surprise.
Yeah, you weren't there.
I know I wasn't there.
See?
I wish I was.
Yeah. Then we got other news, and we have a tour retrospective, a 2024-2020 tour. Tour retrospective of the Music of the Spheres tour so far. Alright, so the Fliffle Director's Cut music video. It was all in color. That was a big thing.
Yeah, I was very excited. I didn't think they were gonna put out a color video.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because all we got was really that
one clip.
No, we had gotten the making of.
Oh yeah, we had gotten the making of.
Yeah, which a lot of that was like, I think from the making of, but just without them yapping over it.
Yeah, I really liked it. The plot of it's basically like showing them like sound checking it and the Gora de Manos Blancos showing up and like meeting with the band and rehearsing and then like it shows the whole thing with the big crowd.
Yeah, and everything was really pretty. We got to see the color of the Xylo bands, which was really nice.
I wrote this here. I'm not going to read verbatim, but I'll cover the same main points. It really struck me watching this music video. I felt like every visual element of the music video, even though it's not like the words aren't being interpreted the whole time like in the actual music video, but I feel like every visual element, from the way the different band members were performing, especially Chris, to the pattern of the camera shots and the way the cameras moved, and once we get to the crowd with all the lights and the way the lighting is set up and the patterns on the Xylo bands, I remember like one specific Xylo band pattern really striking me. Did a very good job of visually expressing the way the sound, the way the song sounds and the way it feels to hear the song.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I just found that very exciting and fun.
Yeah. It was really pretty. I'm excited that we got it. Although it is not up on YouTube, it's only on the director's website on Vimeo.
Yeah.
Which I find it weird because like Coplay hasn't even like promoted it either. Yeah, so
it's just the director's cut.
It's only all right then. Good for him.
It's like the Zack Snyder Justice League.
Yeah.
And finally.
Yeah.
Finally, we got a close enough look at Chris Martin's earrings that we can tell what's going on. So he's got like a piece of string.
You literally
through each hole, and it's like tied off in a knot and then cut off. And I want to try to do the same thing. I'm gonna go back to the Rolling Stone interview with Chris, where the interviewer mentions like something about what kind of string it was, and I'm gonna see about recreating this because I feel like I'd rock that style of earring.
I don't remember them mentioning what type it is.
He said something about... I need to go back and see, because maybe I'm remembering wrong. I just remember him saying something about string, and I felt like he had mentioned some adjective about the string.
No, he just said colorful.
Colorful?
Yes, the adjective was colorful string.
Oh. All right, then maybe I'll just get some colorful fishing line or something, put it in my ear.
No, but it looks like string, not like fishing line.
It really, I thought it looked more like, I don't know the right word for this material, but like more of the plasticky type string than string.
Well, also it was kind of blurry in the music video. Like,
but finally,
really
I could really see that bit sticking out was a knot.
Yeah,
like that was clear, which very.
We just have to get on stage during a songbook and like, hey, give me your ears, and just really take a good look at them.
Well, with this hat that I got for Christmas that you can't see, but Monica can see right now,
yeah.
I feel like that kind of earring would go great. I feel like it matches my hat.
It's a very interesting hat.
Yeah, it's my roommate commissioned beanies, and I have one that I think is like an art piece on my head.
It is like an art piece. I don't understand it.
This is what I asked for.
But hell yeah, brother.
I think it looks cool.
Yeah, it does look cool. I'm just saying that I also just don't understand it.
It is confusing.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
It's like, it's got stuff growing out of it.
Those are spikes. It's got little spikes.
Oh, okay. It's got spikes growing out of it.
And zigzags.
And zigzags growing out of it.
Everything's growing out of my hat.
Yeah, you should see it. Well, yeah, that was the Flipple Director's Cut music video. I mean, there isn't really much to say about it other than it's Flipple but in color, but it's also like the making of.
It was good, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we were able to research some of the people it was directed to.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was the brother of the director. One of them was he was a graphic designer for entertainment. He'd worked on The Mandalorian, and he also was like a deaf content creator on social media, who was friends with Natasha O'Feely, and he had died earlier this year. So that was one of the people it was dedicated to. There was one person who we just couldn't figure it out at all. We found like one record of a guy by that name who used to live in Santa Monica, and that's where Chris lives. So maybe it's that guy, but maybe not. Who knows?
But yeah, that's it. On to the Johnny interview for Rolling Stone. I'm just gonna get right into it.
Let's just get right into it.
Yeah, I did say that earlier, so I'll say it now. The band used their on-tour studio to keep experimenting and playing with music, which, yeah, there's on there. Just like to keep the, like the muscle memory there, or, the muscle working.
Yeah.
Exercise
the experimentation muscle.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. They have to have a little playground for music.
Yeah. Just keep creative on the tour where, like, everything I feel like might be just really repetitive.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
They had left one of their Billboard Music Awards just, like, sitting out on a crate until, like, a PA came and picked it up. And the PA was like, yeah, this humblest band, there's Billboard Award here, a couple of Grammys over there.
They're just laying around.
Yeah, it reminds me of that scene in Iron Man where he gets the fancy award and then he, like, immediately gives it away to someone.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't care.
The Hugo Award?
Yeah.
Wait. No. The Apogee Award. It's the Apogee Award.
It is the Apogee Award. Are you sure about that?
I got mansplained about Iron Man at my job. At full disclosure, if you see me in real life, then you'll know. But full disclosure, I have an Iron Man tattoo. Iron Man, the first Iron Man, is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, and isn't there some connection between seeing Iron Man and, like, you seeing Coldplay on MTV? Yeah.
Iron Man did introduce me to Coldplay, but that's a story for another time. So, yeah. Here's a quote from Johnny Buckland. Next to Chris, we seem like introverts because he's so extroverted, but I think it would be very hard to do this and not be a complete introvert. Yeah. It does, Chris is just, like, bouncing everywhere and just talking to everyone and is super extroverted on stage, And
in real life.
I mean, to an extent, he's really quiet in real life.
He's quiet, but, like, remember the story we talked about last week where he saw someone looking at him at the supermarket and walked up and was like, can I buy you some juice?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I guess you just have to really look at Chris Martin, and then he'll buy you some juice, I guess. I didn't look at him enough in Seattle. I could have gotten free juice.
Here's a quote from the interviewer about Johnny. Buckland is soft-spoken and slightly bashful. Which, it's a very interesting comparison. It goes from Johnny saying, yeah, I'm not a complete introvert. The interviewer going, this guy, so introverted.
Yeah.
Johnny is who I think of when I think of bashful. I think of two people when I think of bashful. I think of, well, I guess three people.
The dwarf?
I forgot about the dwarf. I said three because I'm adding the dwarf. I think of Johnny Buckland. Uh-huh. I think of the dwarf from Snow White. And I think of Bashful Bear from the Sweet Pickles books.
Yeah.
Which is deep cut old children's books.
Yeah. Pickles.
There's like different animals for every letter of the alphabet, and they all have a matching adjective for that letter of the alphabet.
Oh.
Yeah, so B is Bashful Bear.
Bashful Pickles.
We're recording this one in the morning. I don't know what's going on. We didn't sleep.
Yeah, no, we really did not sleep. Let's see. About what it looks like to keep working. Normally it means we just come in here, we listen to music, we try ideas, and do some overdubs and things. So they're always, as we said earlier, you know, they're always like experimenting on tour, which I think is really cool. I just want to sit in and I want to listen, I want to hear all what they're doing, even if it sounds bad. That's what I want to hear the most. I want to hear the stuff that sucks.
If I die and become a ghost, first I'll haunt this store.
Okay, great.
And you can deal with that for a little bit.
Okay,
I just
great.
think it'd be fun.
All right.
And then I'm going to go follow Coldplay around so that I can see what it's like, see them natural.
Yeah. Now I don't.
Like, see how they act with no one else around.
Your natural habitat.
Yeah, like a nature documentary.
I love how you being a ghost, a poltergeist. It's just, how are these 4 British men are gonna act with their music?
5 British men.
Oh, excuse me.
Come on.
I meant actually playing the music. Phil doesn't play the music.
He's still important.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like, I was saying like.
Yeah, the music is important, but bigger. I'm more curious just to watch them like talk to each other.
You just want another Head Full of Dreams documentary.
Yeah, but if they didn't know they were being filmed.
I don't like this! Daniel! Coldplay, watch out. Get a ghostly restraining order.
I'm just curious. There are some songs already for the next album, and Johnny has only heard some of them. He said Chris definitely is keeping some of them quite close to his chest. We're like, you can play it now, it's alright. He's like, it's not ready. Which reminds me of this thing about Chris being like, this song will sound good when I know how to play it.
Yeah, it's just like...
He just hasn't learned how to play it yet. But Johnny did also say sometimes it's nice not to hear a song until it's time for him to work on it. Mm-hmm. That way he's like fresh and ready to go with his own contributions.
Yeah. I just find their writing process just like really interesting, you know? I'm just like, okay, Chris is whatever, smashing the piano, and it's
enrichment
just,
time.
Yeah, exactly. Until he stumbles upon something, and then it's just like, okay, here's a song. It's ready. Johnny, add something. Gotta add something.
It's like making soup.
Yeah. Will, get in there. Play some drums.
What's the most important part?
And due to I guess Chris saying, you know, hey, it's ready, I can play it. Oh, never mind, it's not ready. The interviewer calls Chris a tease. That's so funny.
Chris
also,
is a tease.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. All right.
I bet that in a sense that during A Sky Full of Stars, he'll tell you to put your phones away, and then he'd like lift up his shirt. It's like.
Yeah, Chris is also a tease for AFFTF 2024.
That's true. Well, all of Coldplay are.
Yeah.
That's all their fault.
Yeah.
That's an equal part.
I think it's mostly Chris's fault because it still hasn't passed the stage of just him and Phil working on it yet.
Yeah, well, No, I blame all of them.
Oh, okay.
It's a group effort.
I blame everyone except Will.
No, I'm like a teacher on a group project, you know? It's just like if they all don't get it done, then...
Oh my God. You know how many times I had to stay up all night long working on a group project where I had 3 other people, but they were all too busy, so I just did every part of the project?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've been there.
Yeah. Hey, but at least I got to give a dog a gun.
What?
It was about the Bill of Rights, and for the right to bear arms, I wanted to, like, give a bear a gun, but we didn't have a bear, so we just had a dog that we pretended was a bear.
That's funny. Also, the interviewer asks, how do you know when a song is done? Johnny replies, because we've released it.
That's a pretty decent metric.
Yeah.
And then elaborating, Johnny said, I think it's almost like you give up on changing it. Sometimes it's easy and they're just done. Other times you've changed them so much that you can lose sight of what they were in the first place. But I'm quite good at letting them go once they're done. I don't worry too much.
Yeah. I think I gotta go about life like that, you know? It's just like...
Yeah.
Just, you gotta let things go once
Release,
they're done.
You gotta commit the inventory even if it's not gonna be 100% perfect.
Yeah.
God, I could learn that lesson.
Yeah. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Instead of sobbing on Christmas Eve.
Well, I was sobbing on, you know.
The day after Boxing Day.
Yeah. Unboxing Day. They box everything up and then they unbox it. Another Johnny quote. I think that it became clear that the tour wasn't about us. And I think that is what we meant, that we could let go of all the worries about. That's sweet.
Yeah. And then he elaborated, it's not about us. It's about the people coming.
And about why they didn't tour Everyday Life, we never intended to. We wanted to make an album that we didn't have to tour so that we can make it sound different. Which is funny because that ended up being like their pandemic album anyway. So like they couldn't tour. It aligned so perfectly.
Maybe Coldplay knew what was coming.
Yeah. They see if we were ghosts and we were watching them, we would have known
Maybe
that
I'm
they
just
would.
a ghost.
Yeah. But yeah, I just find that just so strange because, like, of course I associate that album with the pandemic because it was like late 2019, literally November into 2020 of them hardly touring it. It was like, okay, well, you know, it just worked out, you know. And I always wondered, I was like, were they ever gonna do a big tour with this? Not like a Music of the Spheres tour, but like, you know, like a little bit like a Ghost Stories tour type thing where they were at least going to places, and doing stuff. But no, I don't think that they even planned even that much, because I always felt like the Ghost Stories tour was really small.
Yeah. It's. Maybe they had some feeling. I know there were some rumblings out of time. I can't remember if it was like late 2019 or early 2020 when I had like one classmate who just started wearing masks to school every day, and everyone thought he was crazy, and he kept going on about how there's about to be some giant pandemic, and no, everyone was like, we haven't heard a thing about this. We don't know what you're talking about, and then.
Well, I don't even think Coldplay even knew that because, I mean, they would have been working on Everyday Life for a few years by that point.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, so I think, I don't know. I mean, maybe it came to Chris in a dream along with We Pray.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, listen, I'm under the impression that Chris is a psychic and that, you know,
I wouldn't say Chris is a psychic.
No, he's a psychic.
I think Chris is like one of like the ancient mythical heroes
from
like Greek myths or something. Chris reminds me a lot of like Orpheus or Odysseus.
All right, well, don't look back. Wait for me.
I think he has like a touch of divine inspiration.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and
for
the
sure.
favor of the gods. And,
yeah.
I
know we're hyping it up too much. I think we're gonna scare him away. Never mind. I don't mean all that. Or maybe I do. I don't know. You'll never know.
All right. Johnny and Chris, this is a story that a lot of people already know. I knew bits of this, but there are things here that I hadn't read before. But Johnny and Chris had met during their college orientation, and then a few months into the year, Chris had heard Johnny playing guitar in his room and, like, come up to him. And by December, they'd had a few practices and tried songwriting together.
Come up to meet you. That's all.
And Johnny was talking about that. He said, he was like a whirlwind at the time. Just, oh, you play the guitar? Brilliant. Let's do something. And when asked how he felt about Chris roping him into all this, Johnny said, I thought, great. That was literally why I'd come to university, to try and be in a band. So it was like, oh, yeah. And then also, he had been asked, like, if he had also appreciated Chris's music, and he was like, I think it was mostly me thinking Chris was good. And the interviewer went, well, Chris had, like, picked you, and Johnny said, I think maybe I was the only guitarist around or something.
Well, thank you, Chris, for choosing Johnny.
Yeah.
I love him.
Johnny, I think maybe you're being too hard on yourself.
Yeah. I love you.
Yeah, you're good at the guitar.
Yeah. Johnny, about his astronomy degree, occasionally I'm quite skeptical about the shape of some of these planets for music of the spheres. I'm like, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I don't think there could be a cube planet either.
Yeah, not only, like, it's just a cube planet, but it's a cube planet that goes in and out. Like, it has, like, it's like this little, I have, like, this little...
Neato.
I have a Neato here. If you don't know what that is, you can look that up. That's NEEDOH.
Not sponsored.
And today's sponsor. No, I just got it because all my friends had it and I felt left out. So
now I'm getting. I haven't had one in years. My last one popped, and now I'm getting jealous because it looks so pleasant.
Yeah, and so I got it, and I've just been playing with it for forever. Anyway, but it's just like this Neato. Well, they have specifically like the Nice Cube, which I think in my mind is a lot like Cubic, and then it goes in and out.
This was about how Johnny felt leading up to, like, the early shows in his first show. I used to be nervous for days before, literally days. It was awful. I think I would be awful as well. I'd be awful to be around, just really stressed and on edge. And then later he had said that, like, once you get on stage, it mostly goes away, unless something starts going wrong, and then it all comes back immediately.
Johnny first started his musical journey on piano, and then he picked up guitar from his brother and uncle. The first thing he learned was the chords to Kinky Afro. What?
Whoa.
And the G minor bar chord would leave his fingers sore because it's a bar chord and they suck and I hate bar chords.
Yeah, when I first started guitar, I couldn't play an F at all.
Yeah.
I can get some of the lower bar chords now. I can do an F okay if I've got a capo. I have a classical guitar, so it's even harder to do bar chords than a regular acoustic guitar. But I got this classical guitar for free, so that's the one I got. But it's a lot harder to push down on the strings than in an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And without a capo, I will try as hard as I can. My fingers will get very sore, and I'm just, like, physically incapable of getting those, like, bar chords up on the first fret.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like...
I got weak hands, I guess.
Yeah, me too. That's why I play the drums.
Well, I got joint problems in my fingers already also, so it's
I have really weak wrists.
Oh,
damn,
yeah. I also have really weak wrists, which is part of my problem.
Yeah.
Like, they're just overly flexible, and they'll bend into weird angles when I'm holding a chord, and then it messes up my hand.
I just have naturally weak wrists.
When asked if he was getting a lot of good feedback, Johnny said, I think I just thought I was good. No one else did. And he was saying he just knew and decided he was going to have a career with this, even though there was no evidence that was a good idea at all. But, it ended up working out for him.
Yeah. His kids, who talks about quite a bit here in the interview, but... his kids like the shows and stuff, but aren't necessarily likely to take their dad's advice.
Yeah.
Which, they're kids, so...
Yeah, they don't think he's cool for being Johnny Buckland. This was about a film for the future. We haven't started working on it together yet, so we're not quite sure how it's going to pan out, but I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be different.
I'm mad that they haven't started working on it yet.
Yeah, I feel like we should be able to, like... So you know how when you turn in an assignment late, teachers penalize you?
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to do that to Coldplay.
Yeah.
We
well,
should give
again,
them...
as we were just saying, that we thought it was a group project.
Yeah, we should give them detention.
Yes, yeah, we should. Man, that's so annoying.
Actually, no. Coldplay, we respect and appreciate you taking the time that you need to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I want film for the future right now.
Yeah, but all the stuff that we were talking about last week, and spoilers, speculation. I won't go too into it, but like, at least, okay, I'll talk about the Fliffle of Film for the Future music video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if they haven't started working on it yet, what is that? Like,
yeah, does that even have anything to do with it?
yeah. And what about the trailer that we saw and for the iTunes? Like,
right, and most of that's live action.
Yeah.
And they're saying it's going to be animated. And
yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going on?
I don't think Coldplay know. Slay. Film future, I'm going to call it 2026.
I think there's a chance we get it late 2025.
No. I'm getting 2026.
Okay.
Late 2026 is where.
Really?
Yes.
No, I'm saying late 2025 to mid 2026 is my range.
Okay. No, I'm staying definitive in this. When they first started, they had a maximalist effect and would try to always be working all the time, and everyone would be burnt out and songs would get destroyed. But now they're more focused on do more in less time and are able to not overwork songs, which I think is really cool. I feel like that is mainly, I think, the issue with X and Y, like the album itself,
Mm-hmm.
like its production, is that they did try to do too much in, like, on that album, and I love that album. I love that album so much, but I can see what Johnny means by this.
If I can get a little philosophical about this for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, as humans, one of the key things we're always searching for is something in our life that provides meaning. Mm-hmm. And I think in the early days of being in a band, getting as big as Coldplay was then, you are starting to go from having maybe, like, the struggle to find meaning that a lot of us often have, to being like, here is a big source of meaning. I have this thing that is telling me here is a meaning, here is a purpose, here is something that, like, provides you with an externalized feeling of value and worth. And so it's easy to want to then go all in on it and capitalize on it to the detriment of your own health. And I feel like what Coldplay have started to do is move past treating that as like an externalized source of meaning and look inward to find their own sense of meaning, and that's how they're able to healthily continue with the band.
Yeah.
Especially Chris.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. And also keeping yourself healthy mentally and physically. Johnny goes on walks on tour. Yeah. Now I just really want to run into Johnny.
I need to go on more walks. The issue is that I live somewhere where it sucks to go on a walk.
Yeah. That's not fun over there.
I miss Salida, where it was nice to go on a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Or a bike ride.
Yeah.
And then just, like, sit next to the river.
Yeah, it's too scary in Texas, y'all.
Yeah, it's freaky, and people just honk at you for existing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. Houston is not a walkable city. At least, like, out, like the suburbs of Houston is definitely not a walkable, which just really sucks.
Which I think that's why when I lived here, and now that I live here again, I have such a bad, like, vitamin D deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Salida, I feel like it got better because it was just so easy to spend a lot of time outside. But you're just not expected to go outside here, and it's treated as abnormal to be spending any time outside.
Yeah, it's like if you got a car, you gotta go.
It's just building to building, car to car.
Yeah.
Very rarely do people do stuff outside.
Yeah. We gotta make Houston more walkable and accessible. Anyway.
Yeah, we gotta do it.
yeah, we do. I meant like the royal we, but all right.
Talking about his kids again, Johnny said, "They're 17 and 13. I go pick them up so I can force them to talk to me in the car." Which honestly is a little sad. I hope... I mean, I get it, though. That's just how kids that age are.
Yeah.
They don't want to hang out with their dad, even if he's a famous rock star.
Yeah. Johnny's highest point of the career, they had too many to pick a specific one. But a low point was a 12-week bus tour in America for the X and Y tour. He said, "We were quite miserable, confused." But yeah, the more that they talk about the U.S. tour for X and Y, the more I'm just like, yeah, I would go absolutely insane. Like 12 weeks on a bus, no thanks.
Yeah. And that was before they'd gotten really good at, like, taking care of themselves on tour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that was whenever I think they were still living on that maximalist mindset, as well as, like, Phil wasn't there. And
had Chris given up drinking yet at that point?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But an overall high point, or, just a high point in their career, headlining Glastonbury for the first time in 2002, as well as playing Everyday Life in Jordan on top of the hillside. He said, "That was weird and wonderful to do, and I feel like that's just an extraordinary place to play music. Also, it was freezing cold, and the album made sense doing it like that somehow." I remember watching that live, and I woke up real early to watch it, and then I was just absolutely obsessed with it, because that was also the first time I heard the album, because they did that performance the same day that the album dropped, and I was like, I want to hear this played live first before I hear the studio version of it. And yeah, that was like a really fun thing to do. And I remember also, I don't remember, maybe I did this, maybe I didn't, but I also remember when after I listened to like the first half, I think I only listened to the first half of the album, and then I heard them play the second half live, and then and then of course I listened to the entire album after that. But yeah, I don't know, that was just like a really fun and cool experience, and I'm kind of glad that they were able to do that, and I want them to do something like that again, because I think that'll just be really cool.
That would be very cool. About, like, when he's talking about doing it in the cold and that fitting the album, that really resonates with me, because I always feel like doing anything when it's freezing cold outside feels very invigorating and inspiring, and I get this, like, feeling of, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like everything is more exciting and matters more. I think that's part of why I've been like getting hit so hard by seasonal depression lately, is because it's not cold.
It's so humid outside.
It's hot and humid, and it's making me miserable. It's like I'm having all the negative effects of winter without it being cold outside.
Yeah.
And my body cannot handle it, and my brain cannot handle it.
Also, I find it funny. It was freezing cold. My brain just went Coldplay playing in the cold.
Coldplay? More like play cold. Johnny's favorite part of the show is the moment when they start Sky Full of Stars. I found it weird that he just called it Sky Full of Stars and not A Sky Full of Stars.
The band has gotten calmer over time as they've gotten better at communicating and understanding each other. You see how important communication is? Anyway, that's all I want to say.
After they got home from the X and Y tour is when they got the bakery, and Johnny describes it as them getting a home. We rediscovered a love of music and experimentation. I feel like that is what really helped them move past the era of X and Y. As well as Brian Eno.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Brian Eno saved that band. Johnny's parents were super supportive of his early music career and went to early shows. which is just really cute.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think Johnny said there was one show where it was like maybe just his parents in the audience.
Yeah, and maybe like 3 other people.
Yeah, and they never, at least to him, expressed like any concern or worry about this as a career path for his life. Which is very, very sweet and supportive for parents. I feel like I only get concern over any choice I make from my family, whether it's working retail in a comic book store or doing volunteer work in Colorado. It's because my family's like a big believer in the very typical American go to high school, graduate, go to college, graduate, get a career. And when I didn't go to college, everyone was like, oh, Daniel's failing at something. And so I get like all these weird comments and judgments.
Yeah, I don't like the typical, hey, you have to do XYZ to be successful in life. It's just like, no, just like Miles Morales, I'm gonna do my own thing.
You could wear the mask.
Yeah.
I could wear the mask. That's what I'm gonna be Spider-Man. New career idea.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
With Sparks in particular, Johnny, when he's playing it, often thinks back to the original recording session and like being in a small space and trying not to hit the piano with the guitar while they're recording. Because he was saying for most of the songs, it's not really that he's thinking about the first time. He's always like in the moment. But with Sparks, because it was such like a very specific recording experience, he does think about it a lot.
Yeah.
Man, we'll talk about this in a minute, but the I've had Christmas lights stuck in my head all morning.
Yeah.
And Christmas lights and Sparks go together in my mind.
Okay.
Because I have them together on a specific playlist that I listened to a lot around this time of year last year. Mm-hmm. But I'm feeling emotional about Sparks. Is the whole point of this.
About the end of Coldplay. At least the end of them making albums. I remember thinking, God, that's so far off. I can't even think about it. I don't know how you can think 3 albums ahead. It could be another 10 years. So I don't worry about it. And I haven't worried about it. I suppose everything has to end at some point. Why not choose? That's all I have to say about that. About how Johnny feels about it. I feel like I'm not going to feel those things until it's done, honestly. And Johnny doesn't know if it'll be relief or despair or tragedy or misery. He said, and I don't really want to imagine. I'm happy to experience it at the time. And I don't know how these next 2 albums will take, how long these next 2 albums will take. People suggest timelines that we almost never stick to.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Film for the Future 2024?
Don't you mean Film for the Future 2030?
Yeah. 2080.
Yeah, about right.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sad.
And then about Chris's idea of like ending on something very, very intimate and to like come full circle, Johnny said, you can have ideas about things, and until you actually do them, you don't really know what is going to happen. Some events can overtake you, which makes it seem like Johnny doesn't think they're going to be able to end small, which makes sense to me because like ending on something really intimate would be very cool. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like everyone's going to want to be there for it. Yeah. And with the way that they try to make things fair and accessible to all kinds of people and fans, I do think it's more likely that they end up going out on a huge note.
Yeah.
Not because they don't want to do something intimate, but just because at what point do you have to like start drawing the line and saying these are who gets excluded? If it's like who can get access to the tickets, it's going to end up being like buying your way into the final Coldplay concert, which I know is not what Coldplay wants.
Yeah. Yeah. But I will fight tooth and nail to get.
And see, that's exactly the problem. I'm not saying that you're the problem, but it's just the fact that that's how everyone's going to feel about it if they do something so small. I mean, maybe they could do it where they like give away the tickets at random to people and they're non-transferable, but then there's obviously going to be fighting between the people who want in because it's trendy and cool and the people who want in because they have loved Coldplay for a long time. And that's not even me saying that people who just want to go because it's trendy and cool shouldn't get the chance to go. I think they should, but I think it's going to cause a lot of frustration and resentment among people. And I know Coldplay wants the opposite of that. They only want to breed peace and unity between people.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that just because they put out an intimate album that'll equate an intimate show. It might just be like a handful of intimate shows to promote that album, but I think they'll go back to the Music of the Spheres type, a Head Full of Dreams type of concert.
Okay, that does make sense.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's not forever, obviously. Like, sure, they're gonna be done with the album, or they're gonna be done with making new music, but you know, the tour will never end.
I would like another intimate Parachute Head Full of Dreams style album. I think it would be cool to see where Coldplay has evolved so much as a band. I think it would be cool to see what an intimate album from Coldplay as they are now looks like.
Did you mean to say A Head Full of Dreams was an intimate
No,
album?
I did not. I meant to say A Rush of Blood to the Head.
Okay.
And they both have head in them.
I was just like, huh? I think you're confused. No, well, I was thinking like Ghost Stories as well. Because Ghost Stories to me is a very intimate album.
But specifically what I'm thinking of like the full circle is like their first two albums were very intimate albums.
Yes.
But Coldplay were such different people and such a different band back then.
Yeah.
So I would love to compare and contrast what an intimate album from them now would look like compared to an intimate album from them at the very beginning.
Yeah. I want more acoustic stuff, but you know, that's just me.
Well, yeah. I do too. Oh God.
But yeah, that was the Johnny interview. It's really good. You should go read it if you haven't read the other two, and you can still
read an article on Rolling Stone.
Yeah, because usually it's a one and done type deal.
Or if you get a subscription to Rolling Stone, or if you use a private browser.
So you know. All right, on to other news. Jacob Collier, he actually put out the official video for the Fix You bit that he did, or the cover of Fix You that he did, at his concert like last week, 2 weeks ago, IDK. But yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I was in tears watching it. It had me very emotional. I had not ever seen like any Jacob Collier stuff before. I think the way he directed the crowd was fantastic. I got really in my feels just watching people's faces who weren't expecting Martin to be there and who were like shocked and excited to see him on the stage. And because I felt such like a profound empathy and connection with all these people who I like know nothing about other than the fact that it's this like one emotion that I've experienced seeing Coldplay, and I was seeing other people experience it, and it made me feel like very connected and together with like humanity in general. I got really in my feels about this Jacob Collier video.
Yeah, and also it sounded really pretty because, as I mentioned, I think it was like last week, the weeks are blended together, but a thing about Jacob's concerts is that, you know, he'll get audience participation. So everyone was singing the chorus to Fix You, but also like doing like the backing vocals, and it was just really pretty. And I thought it was very funny. Chris got tripped up by Jacob changing all the chords, and it made him forget the words, and he had to tell Jacob, just stick with our chords. And he also was saying how he was the least talented musician there, putting himself below both Jacob and the audience. You should go listen to that music video right now if you haven't. Another music video there's a music video for Forever Held. It actually came out like a month ago, but Coldplay had just posted about it. We hadn't seen it before, but it's for the John Hopkins track Forever Held, which is the first half of Moon Music, the song. That's the part that's not Forever Held. I know! I was singing the second half!
It was very interesting. It felt like an older CGI animation style.
Yeah.
It was very pretty to watch, though. It's like these two dancers with particle effects, And
yeah, but it was like stars. They're made up of the universe.
They are made up of the universe. There were some parts where it felt like they were dancing together, although there was one bit where they just like phased through each other, and I found that interesting too. And it just ends with them holding each other, and then the whole universe is there in their embrace.
Yeah, held forever, even.
But like the implication that the universe is made up intrinsically of love and support. That's all. It was sweet, and it's a good track. Obviously, we've all heard it a lot.
Yeah, unless you haven't listened to Moon music.
in which case, you listening to this podcast is wild.
Yeah. Go listen to Moon music if
I
you
can't
haven't
imagine
heard
anyone
it.
listening to this podcast who hasn't heard Moon music.
I don't know. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, even my dad has listened to Moon music.
Yeah. Well, still. Of course, this past week, it was Christmas. I hope everyone had a good holiday as well as...
Christmas.
I hope everyone had a good holiday as well as, like, Hanukkah. I know that's still going on.
Yeah,
and Kwanzaa.
It starts on Boxing Day and goes till New Year's.
Yeah. I hope everyone had a good holiday. I did. I didn't get any Coldplay stuff for Christmas, though.
I didn't get any Coldplay stuff for Christmas either, except for from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did end up getting some Wicked stuff.
Yeah.
I got a Spider-Man thing.
I got Wolverine. I got Hugh Jackman.
I know.
Stuff.
Of course you got Hugh Jackman stuff. Everyone knows what you want.
I mean, I would like Hugh Jackman himself, but
I don't know her, but I know what she likes. I quote that too often.
Anyway, so Coldplay put out a Christmas message. They said, "Merry Christmas! Thank you for being so amazing to us this year. However you celebrate, we wish you a joyful festive season." Snowflake emoji, white heart emoji, snowman emoji.
Yeah, earlier I had to, in the middle of us recording, go fix it because I had missed a colon. And the snowman emoji didn't emojify.
Anyway, it also said, "Love Chris, Guy, Will, Johnny, and Phil." All 5 of them.
Yeah, they're all there. They're all celebrating together because they love each other and they're brothers since 1997.
They also posted a graphic of a sleigh and snow. It was Santa on his little sleigh with all his little reindeer over the Moon music background and Angel song playing, which is just really sweet.
Okay. Also, us saying that this was all 5 of them reminded me. I didn't put this in notes for the interview, but Johnny's talking about how like they all don't live near each other, but the way he phrases it makes it sound like he and Will do live together.
Yeah.
That's all. It was just funny. There's a new old photo of Coldplay in Paris from 2000. They're very cute, and Chris is like smiling at the camera, and Will's in the background, just like giving a cheeky little grin at the camera. I'm
my
obsessed.
My favorite is that Guy is like all up in the camera. So no, I want to change our profile pic so that like you can be Will and I'll just be really close up Guy.
Hell yeah.
Oh well, you watched this movie, so you can actually mention this next one.
So there's a Netflix Christmas movie called That Christmas, which I had heard of, but I didn't realize it was new. I thought it was some like just old random animated movie, but it is new. It just came out, and it has Christmas lights at the very end. And then I was like, that sounds interesting, and I was already considering watching it, so I watched it. I enjoyed it, although it felt very tonally weird to me. And I feel unclear if we're supposed to believe Santa actually exists or not. Like 2 of the subplots, it makes kind of more sense to believe that like Santa's just a metaphor. But one of them, it doesn't make any sense unless Santa is real and just can't tell twins apart. But it gets very like dark and emotional at the end for whatever reason. It's by the same company that did Ron's Gone Wrong, so it's like just as British and with the same animation style as Ron's Gone Wrong.
Oh, I hadn't seen Ron's Gone Wrong.
Oh.
I can't even pronounce it.
Also, there were random bits where they're all watching TV and there's just that one live action bit is what's on the TV and everything else is CGI animated and it looks really weird. But Christmas Lights was very fitting to the movie, and when it came on was very, very sweet because like the end message is about the power of community and supporting each other, and like how everyone in this town has each other's back. And it plays just the end part of Christmas Lights. And also it's where the sea and sailor meet, and they're all swimming in the sea in the snow.
That's wild to me, but you know what? I don't know. Maybe that's a British thing.
This island just really cares about tradition, and the tradition is the Boxing Day swim.
Hey, let me know if that's real or not. I don't know.
I think I have heard of that, honestly.
Is it real?
Swimming
Is
on Boxing Day.
Is it real? Have you seen that Vine?
No.
Oh my god. No, it's like this lady at like Randall's or Kroger or whatever, like at a grocery store. And then there's like a fake rat like on like some soda or whatever. She's walking up and then she sees it and goes, is it real? Anyway, that's all. Maybe the people will know what I'm talking about. Listener, come on now.
Come on now.
Come on. Were you on Vine? Were you cool and were you on Vine? Okay, anyway.
I was on Vine for maybe 2 weeks.
No, I was on Vine for forever. I lived on Vine. But anyway, just like how I live on TikTok, and that's about to get taken away from me.
I was too confused by Vine, so I stopped.
It's just 6 seconds.
That's why I was confused.
Why? It's just 6 second brain rot. That's it. You just sit there and just rot your brain.
I was expecting it all to make sense, and it didn't.
No, that's the point. That was the point.
Okay, I get that now. Yeah. At the time, no one explained these things to me.
Oh my god. Anyway, moving on back to Coldplay. From the vault, Coldplay have brought back the yellow Pantone tee. Just to describe the shirt, I think it was only around circa 2000, 2001 maybe. When Yellow was like their big hit song and that's all they really had. But the shirt has like the little Pantone colors and they all say Coldplay underneath, but guess what? You wouldn't believe it. It was all yellow. All the colors are yellow, which is just really cute. And I bought one immediately. Actually, no, I was looking at it. My finger slipped, and I happened to buy one immediately.
Yeah, she was hyperventilating too hard.
Yeah. Anytime Coldplay tweets something or I see something, it's like, it's new, I'm like... and then my finger slips and I have to buy it. But the proceeds from the shirt, or the sales of the shirts, will go to the people concerned. The people concerned believes no one should have to live on the street or in a violent household. And that's just like a really cool, charity and cause to be backing.
Yeah, I have not bought the shirt. A thing about me, yellow is my least favorite color. Mm-hmm. I've grown to like it more than I did before.
Mm-hmm. I guess don't look at my shoes. I just bought new boot.
No, your shoes are like the retired crayon that's called Dandelion?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the color of your shoes, and I find it a lot more pleasing as a shade of yellow.
Do you know what? I guess I subconsciously did this because there's like, I got New Balance. I bought these. This was my Christmas gift to myself, along with a bunch of other stuff. But I got it. I think I subconsciously. It was the yellow and the blue. It's like Wolverine's little outfit.
I thought you did that on purpose.
No, it was subconscious.
Saw them, and I was like, oh, you got Wolverine shoes. Because they looked like they were Wolverine themed.
No,
I thought it was on purpose.
No, I thought, once I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, yes. Yeah, that happens to me. Anyway.
I will say I do love the design on the shirt. I think it looks very cool and clever. I do also think it reminds me of those charts for you to compare your pee color to see how dehydrated you are. Anyway, that's all. Chris Martin will be a part of Grammy Greats on December 29th. That's the night we're recording this, the night before this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
I guess I forgot to write down the time. It was I think it was like 9:30 Eastern.
Yeah. So that'll be 8 Central if you...
It'll already have aired by the time you hear this anyway.
Oh, yeah. So we'll talk about it next week if anything important happens.
Chris will set the place on fire.
Yeah. Moon Music was the 25th most collected vinyl record of 2024 on Discogs. You're welcome. That's all.
I saw someone on Reddit yesterday who had posted they finally got every single release of Moon Music. Like, including the foreign limited one, like, all of them.
Ugh.
It was a very cool collection to see. We Pray has passed 90 million streams on Spotify. That's Coldplay's 53rd track to reach that milestone, and the second one from Moon Music, the first being Fliffle, My bet would be that All My Love will hit it next. If any more from Moon Music are going to hit 90 million, I think it's going to be All My Love.
The Moon Music box is now available to buy in the UK in EU Coplay stores. So buy it now because it's really cool.
Yeah, if you want to be cool like me and Monica.
Yeah. Get one.
Yeah, if you want to hear what it sounds like, go back a couple episodes.
Yeah. And also, as seen on QVC. Obviously.
As seen on QVC.
Yeah, that's the news.
That's the news.
So, this week we wanted to do a tour retrospective for the entire year of 2024. Coplay on tour. That all rhymes. So we're just going to go through, like, the dates and, like, notable stuff that happens. And, maybe we'll talk about our experiences with seeing Coplay this year. All right, so Asia Leg 2024. The first shows to happen this year were Manila, January 19th and January 20th. Guess who was there? It was me.
Well, I know the president of the Philippines was at the first one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. He...
Anyway.
But he was not there the second night, which is when they recorded the bit for Jupiter that never got used.
No, that was night one.
Oh, that was night one?
Yes.
Well, then maybe he was at night two. I think he was there the other night from when they recorded the Jupiter thing.
Either way, I was there at both nights. That's more important. Well, okay, so the first night, whenever I first got these tickets, I didn't get tickets to night one at all. I only had gotten seated tickets for night two, which I was still really excited about. But I ended up getting Infinity tickets for night one, which was awesome. And, I was just grateful to have Infinity tickets. Excited to see what the process was. So I go to the box office. I get my tickets. Turns out I got floor tickets, which was insane.
Wild.
Yeah. So just so you know, you could possibly get, floor tickets.
We have Infinity tickets.
Yeah.
We could get floor tickets.
Yeah, we could. Maybe so, maybe no.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. And, that was just, like, a really cool experience. I got to be barricade for C Stage, which I never got to do before. And I got to see Lola Amor right at C Stage, which was awesome. God. And then, of course, we got to record the bit that may or may not be in Jupiter. I love who I love. Which is really cool. And yeah, like these shows. Oh, and I finally got a set list for the first time, which was really cool. But yeah, the first show was like a lot of fun to be at, and then show 2, I finally got to hear Politic for the first time. I was also still really, really close to A Stage. I was like right in front of it. So I got to hear Politic for the first time, and then Johnny Buglin smiled at me. That's really important. Chris Martin flashed me. That's also super.
Yeah, and you got Uhow.
Yeah. Those shows starting off the year, that was probably like one of my favorite like experiences, for sure. Just seeing Coplay, not in America, somewhere completely else. Hearing Chris absolutely butcher Tagalog, which I would too, but hear him butcher Tagalog, which was a lot of fun to hear. I love those shows. I'm gonna be thinking about those shows for the rest of my life. And then they went to Singapore for January 23rd, 24th, 26th, 27th, 30th, and 31st. So a bunch of shows in Singapore. Then they traveled on to...
They were singing in Singapore.
Yeah, they were. And then they traveled on to Bangkok. My cousins were at the February 3rd show. And then they were also there on the 4th as well. And then on to their Europe leg. Athens, June. This is when everything started to happen, where it was getting close to Moon Music. They were promoting and releasing more music.
Yeah, and Haley got flown out to Athens.
Yeah, a lot of people got flown out.
Then there was the guy trying to rush the stage in Athens. Mm-hmm. But then that is when we first got All My Love.
Yeah,
and I hated it.
Yeah. It was just like, I mean, I remember because they had started playing Beautiful, so I turned off, like, the live stream, and, whatever, and then Daniel just messaged me, they're playing a new song, I'm like, what? I remember going back.
Well, I had also turned off the live stream, and I just happened to catch someone saying it, pull the live stream back up. Monica, I didn't message you. I think we were still on call talking about it.
Oh, okay.
And I had been live streaming the live stream to you through Discord call.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, wait, they're playing another song.
Okay.
I turned streaming back on. You hopped back on. We watched that.
Okay.
I think, here's the reason I think I didn't like it. I think Chris didn't know how to play it yet.
Yeah, maybe. Which is really funny.
And then they filmed the Fliffle music video.
Yeah.
This was when they kept hyping up Fliffle, and we kept expecting them to play it, and they kept not playing
Teasing it. Yeah. But yeah, there was Athens, June 8th and June 9th. And then Coldplay went on to Bucharest, Romania, on June 12th and 13th. And then Budapest, June 16th, 18th, 19th. Fliffle was played for the first time in night 1.
Of Budapest.
Yeah, of Budapest.
In Bucharest, that was where there was the big controversy about the guest that Chris had brought on.
Yes.
And I thought it was very cool how Chris handled that situation. That's all. I still think, I was thinking about that the other day, actually.
Me too. Yeah. Shout out Chris Martin of Coldplay. And then in Lyon, they were there for June 22nd, 23rd, and 25th. And then the big thing, they were at Glastonbury on June 29th.
Oh, God.
I left work early to go watch it.
Watching that with you.
Yeah. We Pray was played for the first time. So they had been teasing it at sound checks over and over again.
I think we didn't talk about, this wasn't on your list of places you've just mentioned, but leading up to this, they had done BBC Radio 1. This was before Budapest.
Oh, yeah, Radio Weekend. Well, I mean, we were clowning. Nothing really happened.
Yeah, I know, but I think that's what was funny. Everyone was so certain they were going to play Fliffle.
Yeah.
Everyone was so certain.
And we got Orange instead.
And we got yeah, that was big. We got Orange. Orange
anyway,
won.
I think I just wiped that from my memory.
Yeah, and no, I remember it very vividly because I was in the middle of a bluegrass festival, but I left the bluegrass festival to bake spinach puffs and watch the BBC One Radio Big Week. I can't remember what order these words go in.
BBC Radio 1 Big Weekend.
Thank you. There was like the jellyfish thing and the ice cream truck.
No, the jellyfish, that was at Glastonbury.
Oh, I guess, it was. So it was just the ice cream truck. Yeah. Which nothing came of that ever.
Yeah. Other than Chris just wanted some ice cream, I guess. Anyway, so Glastonbury, the big show, there were jellyfish. But We Pray was played live for the first time. Forever Held was also kind of started off the show.
Yeah.
Which we also got to see.
Which we didn't realize yet was going to be part of Moon Music.
Mm-hmm. It was also the first time they had the security guard dance / it was Light Club 2024 with Breakaway by Martin Garrix that we've just kind of had for the rest of the tour. Yeah.
No, look, I'm calling it next year. Next year we're gonna get
a Turn It
Light
Back?
Club 2025. We're gonna get a Turn It Back.
Please.
A Turn It in full.
Please.
Yeah, and they also did Violet Hill.
Yeah. Victoria Canal was there. Michael J. Fox was there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Glastonbury was huge.
Yeah.
And there were all the people with the hats.
Yeah. And then on to listen, if you want to hear our thoughts about Glastonbury,
there's
you just
whole
listen.
Episode.
Yeah, you can literally listen to our episode, our thoughts on all of it. It's like one of our earlier episodes too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you just want to listen to early weekly Coldplay, you could do that. And then they went on to Rome on July 12th, 13th, 15th, and 16th. Good Feelings was played live for the first time in night 1, and then Good Feelings with Iris Starr performed live on night 3, which was just really cool. I love Iris Starr. I'm so obsessed with her.
Superstar Iris Starr.
And then Dusseldorf, July 20th, 21st, and 23rd, they were there. And then we got like a bunch of German listeners.
Yeah.
And then in Helsinki, for July 27th, 28th, 30th, and 31st, Fliffle it was the Fliffle and Zerb remix. The music video was filmed at the wee hours of the night.
How wee were they?
Very wee.
Oh my god.
And they filmed that with the quote unquote security guard dancer. Definitely a security guard and not a dancer at all.
Yeah.
Then they went to Munich, August 15th, 17th, 18th, Vienna, August 21st, 22nd, 24th, 25th, Dublin. To tie it all off, they went to Dublin 29th, 30th, September 1st, and September 2nd. And in Dublin, a bunch of stuff happened. They got the We Pray, it was like the We Pray Street music video. It was filmed there. As well as the All My Love, All My Life recorded for Full Moon, as well as the Fliffle Feels Like I'm Falling in Live recorded for Full Moon, and full We Pray Gang on stage for night one.
Yeah, and it was their first time putting We Pray in the tour outside of Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And then that's also when they started having special guests come up, because they had, oh god, I can't remember how to pronounce her name. It's like
I don't remember.
Abby Cool something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But she was very cool, and she did her own verse, and then that was the start of them getting different artists to come up and do their own verse on We Pray, which has been maybe one of my favorite parts of We Pray, is all the different interpretations of it.
Yeah. And then USA 2024, not a real tour, it was just a promo tour. We went to QVC, obviously.
They went to QVC.
Yeah. They performed Jupiter there.
Yeah, but you talk about it like a place, and that was what was funny.
It is a place. It's a magical place in the land of TV. Okay? It's not real. I don't know. In my mind, Coldplay got sucked into the television.
That's probably how they felt, too.
Yeah. And then, of course, they did the Sirius XM concert on October 8th. Hey.
Who was there?
Not the president of the Philippines.
Who had tickets? None of the fans.
Yeah, not us.
Who got in?
Us.
All of the fans. I cannot believe still. Everyone thinks I'm exaggerating when I say that we just stood around looking cool and they gave us VIP passes and let us in.
Yeah.
But that is in fact what happened.
Yeah.
And it is and will continue to be one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Yeah.
And I got to see Coldplay in such I'm gonna short circuit if I think about this too hard right now.
I find that absolutely insane that was like your first concert and you got to see Coldplay at right there, like right in front of your face.
Yeah.
In the smallest room possible.
Yeah.
As if it was like one of Coldplay's first shows. You know what I'm saying?
I love this band.
Yeah. Me too, sometimes. But yeah, that was just like a really cool experience. I could talk about it forever, but that was, again, Daniel, that was your very first show. So I want to know like the emotions that you're going through and thinking.
I couldn't believe we actually got in, because we hadn't even been planning to try for that show originally.
Yeah.
And then we had on the off chance decided to just go stand around, and by the time we got there, so many people were there already that it still even felt like a lost cause. We were extremely jet lagged. We had been traveling all day,
all morning.
I was scared of New York. The traffic's scary, everyone's honking.
I love it.
But could you live there?
Maybe.
Maybe if I had seen Central Park, I would feel different.
Yeah. Maybe if I was married to Hugh Jackman,
Next year, you'll have to show me Central Park, and maybe I won't hate New York as much. I don't hate it. I'm just scared of it.
We just need to go for longer than 24 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours of just insane Coldplay things happening.
Yeah.
But I could not believe it's one of those things that we talk about it on the podcast and we're like, damn, that would be so cool, too bad we can't go, but somehow we actually just went. Me impulsively saying we should try and go to New York, and then you impulsively agreeing, and then us actually buying the tickets to do it without having any kind of confirmation we're getting into a Coldplay thing. All of these crazy events, these crazy decisions we made working out. It's like Johnny becoming a guitarist of like, I knew it was going to work even though I had no evidence it was a good idea.
Yeah. I think, I think it's because I knew that so many other people were doing it. I was like, you know what, why not? Let's just go for it.
It truly felt like magical.
Yeah.
It felt like the fates were aligning for us. That is maybe one of the best things that's I've had a very full year. A lot of things have happened. I got to personally meet and chat with my favorite musician of all time for a good chunk of time, and they invited me to lunch in Scotland. But it was very special because I was there with you and we got to experience that together.
Yeah.
And you've like shown me this band and we've gotten to do these things together, and getting to see them with you in such a cool... I might start crying right now, but God, that was very, very special.
Yeah.
And it was a very great show. They live debuted songs. We got songs that never get played.
Yeah. We got Coloratura full band.
Yeah, we got the so far only live performance of Moon Music.
Yeah.
We got the live debut of the Karate Kid. It was magic.
Yeah.
We got waved at by the Weirdos.
Yeah. Yeah, I screamed at them.
And I got a set list at my very first show.
Yeah. Yeah, after me just going, hey man.
Yeah, to the same guy who blocked your view in Seattle.
Hey, shout out. We're buddies now. I think he might have recognized. I don't think he recognized me, but you know what? In my mind, we're besties.
And we got to meet so many of the Coldplay fans. Obviously, you'd met some of them, but I'd never met any of them. And like Haley recognized us from the Discord, and that was very cool.
Yeah.
And we gave out all the bracelets to everyone.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very cool time.
I hope people out there still have those bracelets, and I'm still matching with Coldplay fans everywhere.
Yeah, mine are in my bag, but I hardly ever wear them because they're too tight for me.
Yeah.
And then the next day, early morning, they did the Today Show, and that was a mess. But they did it, so good for them. And then Australia/New Zealand 2024. They had Melbourne on October 30th, 31st, November 2nd, and November 3rd. They skipped right over my birthday. And then Sydney.
They had to take a day off to observe. It's like a holiday.
And then Sydney, they were there for November 6th, 7th, 9th, and 10th. And they were in Auckland, New Zealand for November 13th, 15th, and 16th. And that was Coldplay for 2024. Other than like the secret...
The Jingle Bell Ball also.
I mean, sure. Yeah, they had the Jingle Bell Ball and the wedding performance.
Yeah, I mean, Jingle Bell Ball was the full band, so I feel like that's like their real last full band performance of the year. And then the secret performance was just very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Where they got to play Strawberry Swing.
And Chris and Johnny got married.
Yeah.
That's the wedding album.
But yeah, 2024 was just such an eventful year.
And this was my first full year of being a Coldplay fan.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, because I had started getting into it end of 2023. And beginning of 2024 was the real start of everything kicking up for me and me getting much more into them. And that was part of how we stayed connected when I had moved, was we would have Coldplay to talk about. And I feel like that was... Every other friendship I had dissolved into dust when I moved away. I feel like a big part of it is just that you are a very good friend who made a point of staying in touch with me.
I'm doing the thumbs up right now.
But Coldplay also, I think, helped us have that shared context when we no longer had the context of living and working in the same place. We had things to talk about, and then we started the podcast. And yeah.
Eventful year. Overall.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But yeah, that was our 2024 tour retrospective. And I can't wait till we do end of the year one for next year when we have seen more Coldplay. That's all.
Yeah.
We'll meet them. For sure. We'll meet them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I do think I need to talk to Chris. I think we gotta have a conversation.
No, if I look that's all I'm
Okay.
going to say to that man.
Well, I need to have a conversation with him. Now's the part of our show where, since we have no sponsor, Nido does not sponsor us, we don't earn any money from this, we instead choose to highlight a different charity every month. So this is our last week with the charity of the month for December. It's called 350. You can find them at 350.org. That link will be in our description, as always. Today I'm going to talk about their third piece of what they're trying to do, climate change solutions. The fight against the climate crisis is about reclaiming power. We need to put the power that big oil and gas companies have over our politics, energy, and lives into the hands of people and communities. So 3 ways that you can right now take action through their website. First up, and this one I think was the most interesting out of anything I saw on their website, the Our Own Power Network. The Our Power Network is a call to action, providing a free toolkit and other resources and inviting communities to reclaim their own power by producing clean and renewable energy. You can download their resources and apply to join their network of community-led projects to do things like install solar panels in your community or take action as a community to provide the renewable infrastructure to transition away from fossil fuels. Another one is Repower Africa. 17 out of the 20 countries most threatened by the climate crisis are in Africa. Repower Africa is a campaign led by African climate activists to speed up the shift away from fossil fuels to distributed, community-led renewable energy, starting with communities in Uganda and Tanzania along the route of the East African crude oil pipeline. You can sign a petition demanding African nations commit to the transition and end their support to fossil fuels, and for rich countries such as the US, EU, UK, and Japan to commit the money and resources to fund the transition. The last one is called RPAWA. RPAWA is the Pacific Campaign for Energy Independence and Climate Justice through Renewable Energy. They aim to create a future for their island beyond fossil fuels, where their people and cultures can thrive. You can add your name asking the Australian government to choose safe, clean, and fair renewable energy. And that's that.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. And again, check them out at 350.org. We'll have a link in the description. And yeah, I hope everyone will have a very good, new year.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next year.
Yeah, we will see you next year. Crazy. Yeah, I can't wait for the year to come for Coldplay. Yeah.
Keep clowning on us.
Yeah. There's gonna be a lot more weekly Coldplay. Now we're gonna have actual, 52 weeks of weekly Coldplay.
Wow.
Yeah. If we stick to it. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I'm going to Japan next year. We'll see.
I think we can record while you're in Japan. Maybe.
I don't know. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff.
I know, yeah. We could, pre-record an episode.
Yeah, anyway. Well, that's for us to talk about next year. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your year. Enjoy the rest of your day. Next week, we're going to talk about the music video for All My Love, Pinau remix that we didn't mention, but it's going to be our headliner for next week. Or for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope you have a good one. Thank you for listening. My name is Monica.
My name is still Daniel.
And we're your weekly Coldplay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Weekly Coldplay. For more Coldplay content from us, check us out on Twitter at Weekly Coldplay and Instagram at weekly.coldplay. That is weekly, Coldplay. And if you like what you hear, give us a follow on wherever you're listening to the podcast on. Thank you again, and we'll be back next week with more Coldplay news.